the rain like that.
Yeah.
Any PRP? Yes, thanks guys.
Can we just get your initial assessment of that match? It was a performance you're probably proud of as a coach.
Yeah, I was really proud of the way we hung in through to half time. Almost could have got our nose in front just on half time, which I think would have given the boys a little bit of oxygen, a little bit of belief. Unfortunately, it didn't quite get there, and then right at the start of the second half, we lost. Slips had come on as skipper, and we lost him straight away, and we got a little bit dishevelled in the pack because we were down numbers, and so at the same time they were bringing some numbers on that are pretty impressive. Obviously, Yibin played most of the game with Moret going off early, but then they had some firepower they brought on. I was also proud that we didn't kind of die wondering. We chanced our arm a few times in pretty tough conditions because it was tough going with the carry and to be able to carry in these conditions. They actually turned a fair bit of ball over as well, and we survived, scrambled back and survived a couple of early threats as well, which again I was proud of the effort that was made.
You mentioned losing some numbers, losing some players. What's the latest on the injury front?
Guys are going through HIO process, so Alan Alatoa, James Slipper, and I think Angus Bell just got a split on his eye, so his was blood originally, and then Josh Nassel his calves were cramping, and so kind of we worked our way pretty much right through our full front row, and it meant that Harry had to artificially be a loose head prop, but one of the things about that, it just made our maul defence a little bit less able to be structured, or guys not quite knowing their role as well, because we obviously had a number of changes.
Joe, can you take us through the attacking strategy? It was adventurous. Nearly came off with Max and the crossfield kicks. There was quite a few crossfield kicks. Is that a deliberate strategy to really try to stretch the defence in pretty difficult conditions?
Yeah, we just felt that throwing wide passes. You will have seen one. We were on penalty advantage, but one to Tom Wright there inside the 22. We got caught back on the 22 because they tend to be able to, as soon as the ball's in the air for a long period, they close that space very quickly. They've got very fleet-footed players, and they tend to play up on the edges very, very hard. So it was a way to look for some space in behind that. And I didn't want us to just try not to lose, because I think, particularly in that first half, we wanted to go out and be ahead at half time, give ourselves the confidence that when they unleashed that bench that they had, that we'd already earned a pretty combative, competitive first 40 and maybe a narrow lead.
It's 5 tests, if I've got my miles right, 5 tests into the journey so far. How are you feeling yourself? Are you feeling invigorated, or are you feeling, what have I taken on here?
No. Firstly, they are a great bunch of men, and they are incredibly proud to play for their country, and incredibly disappointed not to be successful when they are playing for their country. One of the things about this competition is it's not going to get any easier. We play 3 of the 4 semi-finalists, and we weren't one of them. So it doesn't get easier going to Argentina next. They'll be disappointed with their first half earlier tonight, but they demonstrated just how tough they can be to beat when they toppled the All Blacks and didn't even give them a bonus point. So I've known Felipe Contepomi for a long time. I'd have a lot of respect for his rugby intellect, and he's a top man. Being friends certainly stops at kick-off though, so they won't be taking it easy on us, and we'll try to make things difficult for them.
So Joe, you've been around for a while, but losing 4 front rows within about 10 minutes of game time, have you ever seen something like that? And can you just sort of describe what your understanding of what happened there was when you sort of go down to 14 and then all of a sudden you're back to 15 uncontested? What just happened?
Yeah, it's very hard to keep up with things when they happen that quickly. Some of it was managed at half time because Alan and Angus Bell came off at half time, but then you know you're skinny. You can't afford to lose another prop. And then Slip's got an HIA right at the start of the second half. So then you're in trouble straight away. And Josh Nasser, about the 55-minute mark, he kept cramping. We were hoping he could actually keep playing, but in the end, that just wasn't going to be possible. So we had kind of 2 hookers and a tight head prop, and a very young tight head prop. So it was. I've been involved coaching over 100 Test matches, and I've never seen that before.
With Angus, were you going to take him up at half time anyway?
No, it wasn't. No, we thought he had another probably 10 minutes in him, I thought he acquitted himself really well. So, it was promising for us. Obviously, we were missing Tanyella as well, so we were a little bit down on firepower in the front row, especially once we lost Alan Latoa as well. Down on experience, definitely. Young Zane is working his way forward, and again, he's a good young kid who will continue to grow, but you got to grow fast against a team like the Springbok and the guys they can bring off the bench.
And with Hunter, did it look like some sort of leg issue?
Hunter, we're not sure. It might be just a cork in the thigh, or it could be just a little bit of MCL or something like that. He was relatively keen to try to play on, but when you get one of those corks, they're pretty debilitating, and you can't stretch out. And if you can't stretch out, you're going to be chasing shadows if you're playing some of those South African players.
So Joe, with Angus, it was a cut, but was that what kept him off the rest of the game?
Well, once he had that cut, we thought it was better to replace him, and that first 40 minutes, just with him returning from a very long injury, we'd already decided at half time that with the cut we would make it an injury replacement, which in retrospect he potentially could have gone back on, but once he'd cooled down and he has returned from that injury, I just think it wouldn't have been the best thing for his foot, and we never expected to lose Slips anyway. He's one of the most robust 140-odd testers, so you just don't expect to lose him. So that was really disappointing for us and for Slips, and he took over the captaincy. So then, then Nick White took over the captaincy. Then our loose-head prop here took over the captaincy. So it kind of, even that is, and no disrespect to Harry, but it's a little bit destabilising when you're working your way through and you get to your 4th captain, just because Harry wouldn't have had the expectation that he was going to be leading the side when we started the match.
Joe, when you have to go down to your 4th captain, you lose players like Slipper, but you're still in the fight with the team that was described earlier this week as the benchmark for World Champion Springboks. How much confidence?
Yeah. It's a little bit of confidence and a little bit of frustration, because when we got to 18-12 and it stayed like that for just a little while, we had a couple of half opportunities to potentially build pressure or capitalise on opportunity that we didn't take, and if you don't get those and you don't grab those and you don't create a little bit of doubt in their mind that we're close enough and dangerous enough, then, that was a little bit of frustration. But as I said, the first half, I felt we fought really, really hard. We ended up with a few good line breaks and a few opportunities. Even as I said, when Max did get his, there was that little bit of space behind that he looked for. If he could have found it, it would have been fantastic for Max as a young kid, give him some confidence and going forward. But also for us, it would have put us, potentially back to 23-19, and then you're right in the game again. Which, I'm sure we got so much good support today that I'm sure people would have been really excited about, and obviously so would have we.
Joe,
Last couple, please.
how did you assess Noah from my side? He looked really, really improved. He looked really comfortable out there.
Yeah, he's grown in confidence, and if you haven't had time in the saddle and you're trying to organise things, and I think I was delighted with the way he coped. Lenny Ikato hasn't played 12 for us, and Andrew Callaway hasn't played 13, and losing Hunter, he stayed really composed, I thought, and ran the game as best he could. And I think we just as much as we became a little bit probably out of kilter in the pack, it just probably upset our backline balance as well. Hunter's been super for us, and so that was a bit of a loss. And so despite all that, I thought Noah did look really composed and stayed in the game really well. And I thought his kicking was improved on top of that.
Joe, how much of a difference can Ted Yella make when he comes back in Argentina? 2 weeks running now, the game line's been a bit of a tough battle, particularly in time. I mean, how's he going to come in and improve things?
Yeah, he's a bit of a tank, isn't he? He's pretty hard to stop if we can get him with some momentum. But even last week in the second half, I felt that Harry got some good gain line. Bob Valentini, he got some good gain line, and I do feel that we've got to share the load. We can't say, right, we've got Nella back, he's going to give us gain line. We've got to be able to share the load, and we've got to keep building other players to be confident, and we've got to have live options. I think one of the things that stops a team storming at you is when they're not sure who's going to end up with the ball, and we've got to work really hard at all that. Because I do think that, I thought Luke Hahn carried probably the best I've seen him tonight, and I was gutted for him, and obviously for us when he lost that ball, because that again was an opportunity for us to get close enough on the scoreboard to put them under some pressure. So those missed opportunities, you can't really afford to miss those. But I suppose on the other side, I felt the way we scrambled defensively after a couple of line breaks from them in the first half was admirable, and maybe survived a couple of points that they could have added on. At the same time, I thought Fussy, his try in the corner came from a player knocking that back out of the ruck when he was off his feet, and those things happen. That probably counteracted the good stuff that we did manage to survive with the early line breaks that they got.
Just looking ahead, Joe, to the Argentina tour, is Skelton out of the mix for that, and is there anyone that you would consider bringing back, or anyone that's available from comeback from injury?
I think Nick Frost and Jeremy Williams are both back from injury. They're both going to be available, which is great. I thought Nick Frost, certainly in the games I've watched and the games I've coached against Nick, that was probably the best game I thought he'd played for the Wallabies last week. I thought he was outstanding. He's a big athletic man, very good in the line out, and is just probably the most physical that I've seen him play. And there's a couple of those guys come back. Taniela comes back. but we're going to have to reassess a couple of other guys. The good thing is we've got a weekend that we don't have to play. So, with the 12-day stand down, there may be some guys who come back and are ready to play by the time we get to Buenos Aires and play that first game against the Springbok, against the Argentinian. Sorry. I continue to have conversations with Will, but it's, as I said, it is complicated to get someone like Will back out of the top 14 lead-in, which is currently underway. They're in pre-season training, and at the same time, as I said, I felt Luke Hahn played well tonight. Nick Frost is coming back in after a good game, and Angus Blythe, geez, I thought he fought really hard in that first half. So, there are guys there who are working really hard and are incredibly keen to wear the jersey, and I know Will is as well. He's really proud of being a Wallaby, and so I guess in the context of Marika, it was great to have him back, and I felt he added a bit of an edge tonight, and a bit of experience, and I think that helps give a bit of confidence to other players as well.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Communicate back to Mark.